Tim Denari, you've come here from Chicago. No?
Maryland.
Maryland? Are you shitting me?
Does that exist? Silver Springs.
Silver Springs, Maryland? Is that right?
Silver Springs.
Where are you from? Come here.
San Francisco, California. For sure.
I've got that on there, actually. You live in San Francisco right now?
Silver Spring, Maryland. You were correct.
Wait, you're not from San Francisco?
Correct.
You lived in San Francisco? Where did you live?
Pacific Heights.
Pacific. Hey. You buying new drink later or what? Man, I lived in fucking East Oakland when I lived out there. That's pretty kick-ass. All right, Tim. It says here you got an M.F.A. from the University of Iowa. Is that right?
Yes.
How did you feel being here at Iowa?
Awesome.
How long is 3-year program?
Awesome.
4-year program. Okay, so you're not going to answer any more questions. Let's see. How do I look tonight?
Very well.
Oh, fuck. Well, it still looks pretty good. All right, Tim, I'm going to give you the mic. You have fucking stumped me in terms of questions, so... Oh, the last thing was this. I see you're writing a memoir on stimulants, psychoactive stimulants. Is that right? ADHD. Do you have any psychoactive stimulants with you for sale?
They're only for me.
That's cool,
I think
man.
I'm reading in front of all of you.
I know, exactly.
All right, let's see it, Devin. It's time to focus.
It's really nice to see you all. I'd like to thank Make Magazine, which is a beautiful magazine, and to thank everybody who's come out. I mean, enough about the Foxhead, but it's very nice. It's very nice. Tonight I'll be reading from a memoir and also in a sense, a history of ADHD and the different ways it's been treated and the different approaches to it and the specific approach I experienced in 1985. And so, this part, the only thing you need to know about this part of reading now is that I was being diagnosed at the time, and so the actual dramatized part is involved with figuring out what was going on. And they had thought I had epilepsy at first, and so it's somehow related to that. That's enough information, I think. We'll be fine.
Shot.
Oh yeah, shot! Come on, drink. Enough about me. What do you think of me?
That's it.
I'd like to thank my students over here.
That's
15 years ago since they came out.
Next
All the people from the Nonfiction.
one.
That looks like Tim. This isn't Jim.
Tim!
This is Jim.
Be a little louder.
Enough about
A
me.
little bit louder.
What do you think of me?
Okay, let's Jen right here. And,
Let's have fun.
Sunglasses.
oh, that's not going to help anybody. I should
Sunglasses.
be wearing sunglasses. I gave them away so I wouldn't wear them.
You
It
son.
was like having a $100 bill in your wallet. All right. Let us. So this is from the first chapter. Let us turn briefly to statistics. Exactly how many children can be considered ADHD? About 3 to 5%, most studies show, or 1 to 2 in a classroom of 20. It affects boys at a much higher ratio, around 4 to 1, though sources vary. It is prevalent across social and economic strata of society. It's not strictly a Western or American or contemporary phenomenon. The age of onset tends to be around 3 to 4, though symptoms can surface much earlier, even in utero. Those with ADHD are likely to suffer from other disorders, a situation called comorbidity. And this can include... Let me find it. Oh, yeah. Anxiety, depression, Tourette's, dyslexia, and bipolar disorder. For a long time, it was believed that upon reaching adulthood, the symptoms of ADHD would naturally diminish. But follow-up studies now reveal that most children continue to experience some degree of impairment throughout adolescence and into the rest of their lives, where the prevalence is nearly identical. Don't they feel so goddamn official, these statistics? Like a coin from an ancient republic. Something you might, even turn over in your fingers. A profile of some long-dead leader gazing numinously into the distance. And there's reason for that. A good amount of clinical effort has gone into their composition. But like history, especially that of a personal vein, such evidence is based upon interpretation. The first physician to approach the symptoms and causes of ADHD in a modern medical manner was one George Frederick Still. In 1902, at London's Royal College of Physicians, he presented the findings of a study on the behavior difficulties of 20 children. In it, he identified several symptoms of the present-day ADHD diagnosis. The notable features in many cases, he said, is a quite abnormal incapacity for sustained attention. He argued that such behavior was rooted in a defect of moral control. I would very much like to hate this man. It's not just his ethical wording. He was, after all, a product of his time and place. No, it's the image he embodies, even today. Still was born in 1868 in London, that happening capital of the Victorian universe. He attended Cambridge, was fluent in Greek, Latin, Hebrew, and Arabic, and professed a hobby for reading ancient works in their original language. Was knighted. Is considered the father of English pediatrics. Was the first to define a host of juvenile ailments, including a form of arthritis that still bears his name. Still, the etymology has to do with extraction, the process of vaporizing and condensing as a means to collect, afterwards, what's managed to remain. And why not? In his portraits, he's a hawkish figure, hinting at something left behind, like a man returning from a disastrous trip to the tropics. Slicked hair, pencil-thin mustache, his figure concealed beneath robes and a dark, flowing cape. Which is to say that Dr. George F. Still embodies my issues, entirely rash, with all doctors everywhere. The empathetic distance between suffering and its diagnosis. Growing up, the personalities of pediatricians and psychiatrists were without a doubt the furthest from my own, and those of my family members also. I prefer not to spend our time reading ancient Greek, among other things. These rational professionals assessed my behavior without even having experienced it themselves. There wasn't a survivor among them, so to speak. Logically, that's not a big deal. You don't need to suffer from a disease to treat it. And probably the situation is different now. But in 1985, after the initial medical tests, the doctor at the time, a certain Mr. Allery, ordered a round of evaluations at Stanford University Hospital, a group of therapy that I remember most strikingly for its pair of note-taking doctors. During half-hour sessions, we were kept in a pen, me and 2 other children, an asphalt playground with a high chain-link fence. It was located outdoors, along an auxiliary wing of the hospital. One afternoon, towards the end of my time there, I was standing against the fence when the other boy in the group sprinted past. He was heading for the 3rd member, a girl who'd been trying delicately to pedal a tricycle. They were both my age, 5. The boy had an enormous head, blonde hair, and wore heavy black glasses that never fell from his face, despite the fact that he couldn't stop moving, yelling, his teeth spaced unnaturally. In contrast, the girl hardly ever spoke. She was much smaller than us. When you talked to her, she'd gaze at your knees, something behind you, her eyes surfacing as if through gray water. At the time, I didn't understand any of it, especially why I'd been grouped together with all of them. The boy, sprinting past, he was heading for the girl again. The 2 doctors didn't get there in time. He grabbed the tricycle and lifted it upward, the girl spilling into the blacktop. Then he leapt against the fence and began to shout. Finally, the doctors intervened. One led the girl inside. The other, riding in his yellow legal pad, turned to me without looking up. "Timothy," he said, "would you like a turn on the tricycle?" I would have, actually. It was my favorite object on the playground. Had been since the very first day. He knew this, of course. It was the other boy's favorite, too. Whenever things got dull, they brought out the tricycle. But I didn't move from the fence. The doctor kept scribbling, the boy shouting. The second doctor emerged from the entrance. Her eyes narrowed keenly on me. They were waiting. It had to do with my tantrums. I began to realize that they were actually expecting me right now to throw one. The betrayal! I understood it now, of course. These 2 adults, the demeanors like a winch, as if they could draw out the most alien aspect, something they might pin afterward effort into study. Which really isn't so drastic, considering. But standing against the fence, the tricycle gleaming in the distance, I was overcome with helplessness, the way I always felt right before a tantrum. Just then the session ended. My mother arrived, smiling, and preferred she didn't stay to watch. She always was happy to see me, her long arms and tiny kisses. This time I couldn't even look at her. In the car she kept asking how it went. I nodded, shook my head. Are you hungry, she said? Should we stop for ice cream? You feel hot? Can you please try and tell me what's wrong? The fog along the coastal mountains. Our family waiting beyond it, my father and sister, the people I knew best. What's happening? I finally asked. Am I sick? Thank you guys.
Tim, thank you so much. Woo! Yeah. All right, let's hear it one more time, guys. Let's hear it for Tim. Let's go. Yes. And so now for my shameless promotion, I don't get paid for these events, so Tim was talking about ADHD, which is of course treated with pharmaceutical grade stimulants. If you don't have the opportunity to get pharmaceutical grade stimulants, I want to welcome you all. Go down behind the vine. There's a coffee trailer that I run. You want to get the best coffee in town? You want to get all fucking wired on my espresso machine? Get your ass down there and get some coffee. Give me some fucking money. Because stimulants don't grow on trees. They grow wild in the jungles of Mexico. And that's where my coffee fucking comes from. So get down to the coffee cart. I think we're going to call it Wake Up Iowa City. So wake up Iowa City and get your ass down there. We'll be legally open on Wednesday, but we'll be open on Monday. So we'll see you down there at the coffee cart behind the vine. And what a pleasure it is to be here. Down at the Foxhead, the greatest bar in Iowa City. People like to make fun of it because of the riders that come in here, but I say, fuck you guys, man. It makes the bar better. It makes the bar better.